Welcome to this Stahls TV live classroom. It's called Niches to Riches, and we're talking about 4 markets or 4 things that you should be focusing on in your business. We launched a poll as you guys began to log on and talked about which ones of you are actually selling currently into niche markets. And the results came back that about 38% of you say you are currently selling into niche markets, and 63% of you say that you are not currently selling into niche markets or you don't have a niche business. We're going to launch another poll here a little bit later in the class for those of you who do currently sell into niche markets. We're interested to know what type of sales you actually account for there, but we're going to launch that in a little bit. So let's talk a little bit about what a niche is. And again, we're coming to you from Think Tank Studio. We're not necessarily going to show you today exactly how to decorate items, but we're going to show you some different looks, some different niches that you can be hitting, and talk about how you can sell into those markets and get big profits. So what is a niche is the first question that I think we need to answer. And if you Google the word niche, you may say, well, you say it niche. Well, niche doesn't rhyme with rich, so we're calling it niches to riches today. And actually that is pretty much the common pronunciation here in the U.S. is a niche. But what a niche is a specialized but profitable corner of the market. So a niche is a specialized but profitable corner of the market. When we hear the word niche, which actually if you do a Google search, the word usage of niche has more than doubled since 1970 up through the early 2000s. So the word niche is being used more and more when it comes to business talk because we have the ability to be extremely specialized, and those companies who become very specialized are the ones who we hear a lot about becoming profitable. So we're looking at a specialized, profitable corner of the market, and niche is kind of a buzzword, I would say, in the business world. Again, since the 1970s, the usage of that word has more than doubled. But why has that usage doubled, and why do people talk about niche markets? Well, one of the reasons is a niche market tends to be more profitable because niche markets are ones that not a lot of people attack because they're extremely specialized. And one of the things when we think specialization is that, well, we're excluding somebody. But you've heard the old adage that you can't make everybody happy all the time. Well, your business can't serve everyone all the time and make money profitably because as soon as you try to serve this market and market B and market C and market D, then before you know it, you're stretched too thin and you're not making any money on anything trying to make everyone happy with your business approach. So what we're going to do today is talk about creating a niche, and then we'll review kind of 4 of those in the decorating industry that have really taken off. 2 of them are probably not going to be new to you at all. 2 of them maybe. We'll see what you guys think as we go on. So we want to focus on niche markets because they're more profitable. Because we're focusing on a niche or a specific group of people or customers, it's easier also to convert them. So the sales process, it's not necessarily shorter, but it's repeatable, it's duplicatable, it's replicatable because we know what we're doing because we're dealing with the same types of people and the same types of needs all the time when we're dealing with a niche market if we understand the market that we're dealing with. So one of the articles that I read in doing my research and preparing for this class said that niches are created and not found. So it's not that we go out and find a niche for our business, but there is a duplicatable process for creating a niche that our business can serve. I just want to walk through those 7 steps. This was an article that was presented in entrepreneur.com in 2014, and it walks through the 7 steps for creating your niche market rather than finding your niche market. So the first thing that you want to do to create a niche market is make a wish list. And basically what a wish list is when it comes to business planning is with whom do you want to do business? And we kind of talked about this. If you watched our class on customer acquisition, we go into much more detail on how to create those types of lists and how to test that. So you can go to stahlstv.com and watch our class on customer acquisition for more details there. But first, we want to define who we want to do business with. And when we're talking niche, we want to be really focused. So we don't want to say, well, I want to do business with people who wear t-shirts. Well, that's pretty much everybody in the United States. So that doesn't really narrow down anything. That's not creating a niche, somebody who wears t-shirts. What you want to think of is, I want to focus on people who wear t-shirts that have, let's just use for example, movie quotes on them from the movie Star Wars, under the age of 40 or over the age of 40. So we want to get really specific on who we would like to sell to. And if you visit sites like teespring.com, they kind of walk you through the steps to do this as well. They're a company that creates t-shirts and sells specifically into niche markets through social media on Facebook and Twitter, and they walk you through a process to get really defined on who you want to sell to where you can define your message. And it kind of, as we walk through the steps, you'll see it all kind of works together. So make a wish list with whom do you want to do business. Make sure it's focused. So you want to match your skills to your target market when you're creating your niche. So matching your skills to your target market would be this. If me personally, if I was a baseball player in high school and I came out and I played baseball for a few years semi-professionally, and I have a family with 4 kids, I probably wouldn't go and try and create a niche of cheerleaders who are single and don't have any kids, because I wouldn't have anything to relate to them with as far as my marketing message goes, as far as understanding who they are as people. So you want to make sure as you're focusing that your skill set matches the folks who you were trying to reach. So think about who you are as a person and who you might be able to appeal to. You also want to describe the customer's worldview. So basically, how would a customer want to be treated? You've heard the golden rule, right? Treat others the way that you want to be treated. Well, the writer of this article in Entrepreneur recommends using the platinum rule. Treat others as they would like to be treated. So don't think about how you think they want to be treated, but how they would like to be treated. Use the platinum rule. Describe their worldview, what their needs and their wants are. Step number 4. So we've said make a wish list. We've said focus it. We've said describe the customer's worldview. We also want to synthesize. And that's taking those first 3 things that we did and making sure that it makes sense with where we want to go with our business. So we want to synthesize our niche with our actual business capabilities, or at least what we plan to do investment-wise on equipment or decorating methods. We also have to make sure that somebody else actually wants what we're going to be selling. Namely, are we going to have a customer base to sell to? If you get too focused, it's possible that you won't have any customers, because maybe those people who like quotes from Star Wars aren't wearing the type of t-shirts that you're going to be selling. So you have to make sure that everything is synthesized and understand who your customers are. Step number 5, you want to evaluate. Basically, answer all the questions that you've asked yourself. 6 is test it. So you want to test your theory, test your niche, actually make some garments, do some flash sales, do something like that to reach into the niche and see if people are actually interested in the product offering. And then if you get a good response, if it's profitable, if you can make money off of it, then step number 7 is actually going for it, going for your niche market. So those are the 7 steps to creating a niche rather than finding your niche. So with that being said, the 4 things that we're going to focus on today, 2, as I said, are kind of markets, and 2 of them aren't necessarily markets, but one is a garment type that can be used in multiple markets, so that can be a niche. We can have a product-specific niche, and one is a decorating type or a design type niche that we're going to show you. So we're going to look at a few websites of people who are doing it to prove that this niche exists. We're going to look at some decorated garments that we have over here on our clothing rack and just kind of walk through the decoration methods, and then considerations that we have as owners of heat presses for how we can decorate and attack these niches. Because at the end of the day, we're all decorators, and we know that we have heat presses and we want to put them to use because that's our business. So how can we create a niche with the equipment that we have already invested in, whether that's a heat press, a vinyl cutter, an embroidery machine, whatever decorating method you are choosing to use. So the first niche that we want to look at, and you may say when I say what this niche is that, well, that's really not a niche, and you're right. So the niche that I'm going to say is team sports. It's nothing new. Our most successful Stahls customers have built their business on selling into team sports. So how do we make team sports a niche? Because that's not really well defined, right? There's millions of people who participate in team sports across the U.S. So how do we create a niche out of team sports? Well, there's a number of ways to do it. We can decorate specific types of jerseys. We can drill down to a specific sport that we know that we're the best at, whether that's football, basketball, maybe one that is not participated in as much as one of the mainstream sports if you go into track or specifically into cross country. You can understand the garment makeups that go into those high school and college sports and define yourself or make yourself a niche seller into them. But one of the ways that I want to show you to do that, Karen, I'll ask you to switch over to the computer for me quickly, is with number styles. So how do we create a niche in team sports that obviously a niche is something that somebody else isn't already doing? Well, we can create a niche with different number styles. We can be the go-to person for those creative look uniforms. The one that I'm showing you here is actually West Virginia University's football uniforms. You can see the font style is far from traditional, and that's the way that Nike and Under Armour have been doing their sponsored jerseys for quite a while now. You've probably taken a look at Ted's blog over the course of the past couple years, and he has blogged about Notre Dame's numbers. He has blogged about Oregon's numbers, which we have a picture of as well to show you. But West Virginia's numbers here are a very unique font. So anybody can decorate football jerseys with a heat press and numbers, but not everybody is offering unique number styles. So that is where we can make a niche. We can charge a little bit more money because we have something that nobody else is offering, a unique number style, a unique look that somebody can take on the field. I'm going to show you another picture here of the Oregon Ducks. Here's 16 different jerseys that the Oregon Ducks have worn, actually just in the past year or two. So we see not only different number styles, we see different color combinations on the same jerseys. So if your local high school team is looking to really look sharp at every game, and as you guys know, Oregon's probably wearing a different jersey for every game of the year. Your local high school probably isn't going to be able to afford that, but maybe they have a special homecoming game that they would use a special jersey for. That is a niche that you can cater to, is a special homecoming jersey for the team. So you see the different finishes here. Some are gloss, some are matte, some you even have a reflective or a metallic look, which we'll talk a little bit more about later. But a special effect finish with a special font is creating a niche for football jerseys. And I'm going to switch over here to Stahls' site to give you an idea of some of the fonts that are available to you as a Stahls customer to decorate these jerseys. So you can show these number styles to your customers. It's not that you have to invest in all of these numbers before you sell them. So it's a small investment to get into this niche market of specialty numbers and letters and ways to decorate team jerseys. So I'll just scroll down the page a little bit here to give you an idea of some of the different looks that you can achieve. Most of these looks are available in 1 and 2 color as well. You can see over on the right hand side all of the different finishes that are available as well. So you have fashion film, which is going to give you a matte number finish. You have glitter flake. I don't know that your football teams would necessarily want to wear glitter on the field, but if you're decorating jerseys for folks in the stands, you can look at glitter numbers. And then you also have hologram, sport film light, premium plus for performance wear, super film for stretch, and gorilla grip 2 for any nylon jerseys. So you're not limited to just the polyester jerseys as well. So that kind of gives you an idea of creating a niche with team sports. In addition to team sports, the second niche that we want to talk about is cheerleading. Actually, the larger category is spirit wear, but if we drill down to it, cheerleading takes you all over the place. So you can get into uniforms. You can get into what I'm showing you here. GTM Sportswear is one of the industry leaders in decorating these uniforms. They've created a niche with a much larger market. So they're reaching on a national level where you can provide a service at a local level similar to what GTM is providing on a national level. If your customers are looking for more local support, you have that in your sales arsenal as a sales tool that you can sell. So we're looking specifically at camp wear. because uniforms can be, I don't want to say difficult to decorate, but uniforms aren't necessarily the easiest thing to decorate. If you don't have embroidery, which applique is probably the traditional method that cheerleading companies are using for their on-the-field jerseys that they're actually going to wear at game time. But camp wear, when a cheerleader goes to camp, they're wearing more than one shirt in that week that they visit camp, or 2 weeks, depending on how long they're going. So you have a lot of different options when it comes to camp wear if you specialize in that. And one of the ways that you can decorate this with just your heat press is with a screen printed transfer. So if you're going to camp, you have a team. A cheerleading team is going to be somewhere between 12, maybe upwards of 50, depending on if it's a traveling team or if it's a high school team. But you can go into Transfer Express's Designer. You can add a layout, and we can simply search for cheer as our keyword. Let me click in the box here. And you see all of these options that come up that are available to you for cheer wear. So not only are we targeting camp wear for cheerleaders, but we also have some of the coolest looks here with chevron patterns. And all of this stuff is completely customizable. So if we choose this particular pattern, we can go in and we can change every part of this design to say whatever high school or whatever city or whatever competitive squad that we're working with. So Stahls TV Studios is here in Uniontown, Pennsylvania. So we'll switch out Uniontown for Compton, and it automatically sizes it. All we have to do now is choose the color. We can adjust the size. So if we click on the color button on the left-hand side, if we're decorating on white shirts and we want a pink finish, here's a nice watermelon that we can choose. We can make our pattern different colors as well. So everything here is customizable. And one of the nice things about creating your niche in the cheer market is if your cheer squad wants to be interactive or actively involved in designing this, you can actually give them access to this designer in design mode. You can see in the top right-hand corner, if we click design mode, all of the pricing and product information over here on the right disappears, and all they have to do is choose the graphic that they want, design it, put in their particular information. So how does that make you more profitable? Well, how many other companies in your area are giving cheerleaders the ability to come into your shop, design for their camp, and place an order? And all you have to do is heat press these screen printed transfers, and you have a screen printed finish. So I'm going to move to another website here before we kind of step over to the rack and walk through a few of the garment finishes. So first niche market, team sports with different types of numbers. You can be the expert at numbering with different fonts with creative finishes. Again, show you some of that here in a couple minutes. Secondly, cheer all the way down, or spirit wear all the way down to competitive cheer camp gear. You can be the expert in your area at competitive cheer camp gear, and that market might be larger than what you think it is. One of the nice things about creating a niche, or one of the things that makes a good niche, is that it evolves. So you can make that customer type your niche, but it evolves into different profit centers, but you retain the core business. So that cheer squad, that camp wear that you're going to do, they can buy other things like hair bows, like shoes from you, like uniforms eventually. So it can evolve into different profit centers. That's what a good niche is. So thirdly, and this is the one where we're not necessarily talking about a market. We're talking about performance wear. And we've talked about performance wear in Stahls TV classes probably for the past 2 years. We have been developing materials and selling materials to decorate performance wear that minimizes scorch marks for the past few years, but we still find people all across the country who aren't taking advantage of this. So this is still an extremely profitable niche. One of the things that makes performance wear so profitable is that the item itself is more expensive than just a t-shirt. So you talk about cheer camp gear, probably going to be t-shirts, shorts, tank tops, those types of things. There is only so much that you can charge for a t-shirt. But when you talk performance wear, whether you decide to specialize in compression gear or loose fit gear, or maybe you're more into the to and from gear that may be Lululemon sells it as to and from, but it's basically the athleisure look that we talk about from Sanmar, where people can wear performance wear to the office. Those items are more expensive at a base level, and there is a much higher perceived value in what they do. It's called performance wear for a reason, because it performs at a different level than what a t-shirt is going to do. So what happens is you can actually sell those items for more dollars. So the heat printing is the same. Your heat press is going to be locked down for 10 to 20 seconds, whether you're decorating a t-shirt or a piece of performance wear. So why not sell an item that you're going to make $15 off of instead of $5 for that 10 seconds of heat press time that you're going to use? So performance wear is a great niche to look at. So we said there's compression gear, which I'm going to show you on MyoGrid's site. MyoGrid is a group stall company. We're going to show you what some of their stuff looks like, just to give you an idea of where you can go. So we have training gear, and we're just going to look at the men's stuff to start. And as we're going through this, if you guys have any questions, you can feel free to type them in, and we'll get answers to those questions as we go. If you have a particular niche market that you'd like to share, we'd love to hear that from you as well. So we're looking at MyoGrid, and this is training gear. So we see loose fit items here. We have hoodies, we have short sleeve tees, and you'll notice that there is actually not many color options, because this particular niche is for more fashion. So as we present this product to customers, we're finding that it's really hitting home if you want to talk about a niche with gyms and fitness places where folks are going to work out. This is where the MyoGrid training gear really fits, in the grays and the blues. And if we look at the women's, you would notice there's a lot of pink as well in there. So we can also look at base layer. You'll notice here the pricing as well. That hoodie was a suggested retail price of $50. If you want to test some of that out and see if you have a test market or a niche market for this performance wear, your cost on that item is actually half of that, and then you can add decoration to it. It's a nylon-based material. We can recommend that for you. But there's also base layer technology that you can sell as well. So this is more for on-the-field training for those local football teams or those team sports that you may have a niche with the numbering for. You can also create a new profit center with performance wear from MyoGrid. So there's also women's gear. I'll just give you a quick look at that, talking about how fashionable it can be. If you have a retail spot, what really sells performance wear is when people get to touch and feel it. Just like when you're walking into a retail store. You may like the look of the clothing, but if you don't like the feel of it, you're probably not going to wear it. So having this having these garments in your shop really makes a big difference on the final sale price. So you can see here we also have some pinks, grays, and charcoal or black available for the women as well. Again, training hoodie, recommended retail price is $50. You can sell that garment for whatever you want. We sell it to you for $25, and you can add decoration, personalization, and create a real niche in performance wear. One of the nice things about MyoGrid is it's not as well known as the Nikes, the Under Armours, and the Adidas of the world. So you can take MyoGrid and make it your own brand. So you can have a local brand for your area if you're selling locally rather than online, and create your own brand of performance wear, which would be a great niche for you as well. So performance wear, again, high profit potential because the item itself costs more. You're going to be making $25 on that hoodie versus the $5 or $10 that you're going to make on a t-shirt. All right, and last but not least, our fourth niche, and again, I'm walking through some websites here. We're going to come back as soon as we're done with these websites, and I'm going to actually show you some decorated garments, tell you a little bit about how we did it here at the Stahls TV studios. But the last niche isn't necessarily a market that you would normally consider, but it's a design style, and it's monogramming. A lot of our customers have come to us and said that monogramming has been absolutely huge for their business. One of the companies who does this very well, this is 31gifts.com. So not only do they have a niche in the monogram world, but their sales channel is quite different as well. They set up much like Tupperware and have parties. So most of you around the country, our viewers today, have probably heard of 31 Gifts, or you know somebody who reps 31. Well, they're a decorator just like you, except on a much larger scale with a much larger sales force. However, monogramming is their business. And they started off, they used to be called 31 bags, and they actually went back to just 31 because they're selling more than bags now. So you can have a product-specific niche with a decoration. 31 has built their business to the point that they're one of the largest embroiderers in the United States, and all they do is monogramming. So monogramming is a great niche to get into. Another company that is doing it very well is called Marley Lily. So this website is marleylily.com. Again, you can see here right on their front page that all of the work that they're doing is monograms. And then they've expanded their items from vests to bags to caps to anything that they can put a monogram on. Now, monogramming is nice because everybody has a monogram. You're very personal with a monogram, so your market is large, although not everybody necessarily wants a monogram on something. But you can get into women's items, men's items, just with a specific graphic design style or a decorating style. And that's really where retail fashion comes from as well. We follow designers like Ralph Lauren, like Tommy Hilfiger, a few years ago. Those were very popular, and we have new designers now. Well, you can be a designer of monograms with your decorating business and create a nice niche. So we're going to come back to our main camera here. I'm going to take a sip of coffee, and then we're going to answer a couple of your questions that have come in. All right, so the question that I see is the pricing shown on MyoGrid's site. Did you say that is not, I'm sorry, is net or coded? If coded, what letter? Okay, I assume the net and coded is ASI or PPAI terms, and I'm not 100% familiar with those. The pricing on MyoGrid's site is suggested retail price, and your price is 50% off. So take whatever the price is on MyoGrid's site, your price for that particular garment is half of that, which your customers will not see if you send them to the site. You have to be a dealer to have access to that site. So it's list price, suggested retail price if you want to send your customer there. If you don't, you can actually charge more. There's no necessarily minimum advertised price or anything like that on the product. All right, and then we had another question about Teespring that I mentioned earlier. The website for Teespring is TEEspring, SPRING.com, for anybody who wants to check that website out. They decorate millions of shirts a year, and they have great educational tools for how to reach a particular niche market. So I'm going to move over to our garment rack, and we're just going to walk through some of the styles that we talked about. Thanks, Karen. If you guys have more questions, please feel free to chat those into us. We have about 15 minutes left, and we will do our best to answer those as I walk through some of the garments that we've decorated to appeal to these niche markets. So the first one that we talked about was team sports. So we're going to start with hockey. So this is a hockey jersey that we decorated. Karen, can you come in for a close shot on this for us? Thank you. All right, great. So we have Nationals on the front. This was done with a two-color CAD cut design. So we cut the white and we cut the black, and we heat applied it out of what looks like our thermofilm material. Thermofilm is great for those contact sports. It resists abrasion. It inhibits dye migration. On the back, we do have one of those new number styles that I was showing you as well. So we have a name and we have a number that you're not going to find on a standard font list, but Stahls does have these in stock. And you can also, if you have your own, you can create your own number style as well. So a more traditional numbering style is on this football garment. We just have pretty much a block. A lot of folks, though, avoid decorating these TV numbers or these sleeve numbers. Well, each placement on a garment, if you can be the guy who can decorate the TV numbers and is not afraid to do that, it can be extremely profitable for your business because you're adding two more placements. You can charge more for that particular jersey. And all you really need is an optional platen for your fusion or your autoclam heat press to easily decorate sleeves and other placements on those garments. And then lastly, in the team sports realm, we have a basketball jersey. This Patriots was done in a two-color. Again, a lot of people avoid two-color decoration. It's really easy with fashion film material. It's also really easy with screen-printed transfers from Transfer Express. Fashion film, you're applying two colors. cutting and weeding 2 colors. We have a creative number style here on the back. If you use a screen printed transfer for this type of decoration, all you have to do is 1 application for that. You just won't be able to cut that on demand. You'll just have to pre-order. All right, so those are some team sports looks. And then as we kind of cross the bridge into spirit wear, this kind of combines a bunch of different looks. This is a performance wear track item that's actually from GTM Sportswear that we bought blank and decorated with a 2-color CAD cut on the front, so that stretches and rebounds with the performance wear garment. So we're reaching a track market with a performance wear garment, so we're combining niches to be profitable. All right, before we move on to spirit and cheer, I see some questions coming in. Let's see, what material do you need to use for printing MyoGrid? Karen, if you can come back to the wide shot to where everybody's not looking at my hand here, that would be awesome. All right, great. Glad you guys got to see me. All right, so what material do you need to use for printing MyoGrid? You need something that's compatible with nylon. So you need an adhesive for nylon. If you're CAD cutting, Stahls has Gorilla Grip 2 or Superfilm that is compatible with nylon. There is polyester in the MyoGrid garments, but the vast majority of the garment is a nylon, so you definitely want a nylon compatible adhesive. If you're getting your transfers from somewhere else, just tell them that you need one that's compatible with nylon. Next question, do we buy directly from MyoGrid or from Stahls? Great question. Actually, you can buy from a Stahls company called Imprintables Warehouse. That's where MyoGrid is being sold right now, through imprintables.com. So if you guys are familiar with Imprintables Warehouse, you can place your orders there online. Sign up for an account, you get your dealer pricing, you can place your orders. Those items ship out of their Arizona warehouse. So imprintables.com is where you can buy the MyoGrid garments currently. All right, so we talked about team sports looks, showed you a few of those. Let's look at cheer. So this one is more in the stands. This is fan wear. So we're getting a glitter flake finish on a glitter garment from Pennant Sportswear. Yeah, you can come in for the close shot on that. That would be helpful. So you can see there's actually glitter in this particular garment, and we combined it with a CAD cut glitter flake design. So if you have a vinyl cutter, you can order the glitter flake material and cut it yourself. If you don't, you can send us your graphics at stahls.com and we can cut it for you, and all you have to do is heat apply on garments like this. Again, this garment's from Pennant Sportswear, and it has glitter thread throughout for a heathered look. More specifically to the cheer market or the dance market, we have this GK design. So we're combining a metallic with a glitter flake, and on the back side here we actually also have a glitter hair bow. If you want to know how to make these, it's Stahls glitter flake material. There is a video on stahlstv.com that Jenna Sackett put together showing you how to make these glitter flake hair bows, and this is one niche market that has really taken off. To make one of these glitter flake hair bows costs you somewhere between $5 and $8 in materials. People are selling these bows for upwards of $50 to $60 on online marketplaces like Etsy.com. So that is an extremely profitable niche in that cheer market, is creating those glitter bows and combining it with glitter flake finishes on your garments. We'll grab a more traditional cheer or spirit item. This one is a varsity jacket. This is a Sport Tech garment from Sanmar that we've decorated on the back, again, with glitter flake. It's the glitter materials that are allowing us to create this cheer and this spirit niche. You can also add, this would be a great place, which we haven't done it yet, great place to add a monogram here on a left chest to where you can combine the monogram look into the spirit market. Lastly, again, we've talked about this garment on Stahls TV a lot. This particular garment is a boxer craft. It's an oversized tee with an oversized print on the back. Here, we're combining spirit, we're combining monogram, and we're combining glitter flake on a really high-priced item. So these shirts will cost you about $20 to $25 to buy. Again, same amount of heat press and cutting work. You can sell this garment for $55 to $60 to your local cheer squad. So rather than making $5 or $10 on a t-shirt, why not make $35 for the same amount of work on an oversized print? All right, so we've talked team sports, we've talked cheer. Let's go into performance wear. This particular garment is from Sanmar. This is a Sport Tech performance wear garment. You can see that we have some colors inset in this particular garment style, and we've matched those colors on our screen printed transfer from Transfer Express. And the product that we use here was a product designed specifically to apply to performance wear. It's called Elastiprints. So this is a 2-color Elastiprints. And what Elastiprints does is it applies at a low temperature of 275 degrees to eliminate or minimize these scorch marks that you can experience on this performance polyester under your heat press. So that's an Elastiprints 2-color look. Again, screen printed transfers are a great option when you're talking 24 or more of the same item that you're going to be decorating with the same design. And then I do have in person here a MyoGrid garment. We actually didn't decorate this one because a lot of folks have actually, decorators have been selling MyoGrid garments not decorated. Just because people walk into their store and they find these blanks and they really like it. You can see in the middle of the garment there that there are some performance vented zones. So there's vents where people sweat the most. You'll notice on the side of the garment, or actually you won't notice that there are any seams on this garment. So this is a tubular knit construction garment designed specifically for performance. So there's no seams, no chafing for athletes who will actually be using this for training. Same thing on the compression gear. So this is a close-up look of one of those MyoGrid garments. All right, and performance wear isn't just for athletes. Performance wear can also be for visibility. So this, again, is a Sport Tech garment from Sanmar. This could be used out for road workers, municipal workers, or people at training centers who may be out in parking lots. This particular garment can be used outdoors. So you can take performance wear and expand it into the different markets that you sell into, municipalities included. All right. And lastly, we're going to talk or show you monograms. So this is a monogram, again, combined with our glitter flake material. This design, if you're looking for designs like this was done in cadworkslive.com, which is an online designer that we offer here. You have free access to it as a Stahls customer. So you can go online to cadworkslive.com and design monograms. Actually, Courtney has a video on Stahls TV showing you how to work with monograms. And we also have a Stahls TV live class coming up later this quarter that's going to teach you how to work or make monograms in CADWorks Live as well. So I'd encourage you to register for that. This particular garment, just so you know, is a next level garment that we've decorated for a cheer camp, but with a monogram design. Another idea for monograms, which you saw on the websites that we looked at, is combining it with something a little bit more fashionable or with an actual graphic. So this is combined with an anchor. If you walk into retail stores, you'll find monograms combined with all different types of things, from elephants to owls to anchors to the patterns that we've been showing you as well. So this is a simple left chest application on an oversized shirt, again from Boxer Craft. All right. Last on our rack, but we're not completely done yet with the monogram look, this is actually a robe. So some creative items that you can be decorating with monogram designs. Robes make sense. We didn't embroider this. We actually used our CAD cut flock to give it some texture to mimic an embroidery look, a higher end look. Two more monogram looks that I want to show you just on some creative items. One is this wine tote. So again, monogram look, CAD cut glitter flake material in a wine tote. So this is one of those ways that you can create new profit centers with new items with just a simple look. And lastly, this one isn't completely a monogram, but it's really an initial, and it combines an initial with a pattern as well as a reflective material on this backpack. So, you know, a backpack's going to sell somewhere between 20 and 30 bucks. You have reflective qualities about it. You could put a company logo on there too. I know we're talking about monograms, but this reflective material goes great on backpacks for company logos as well. But you add that graphic and you can charge $5 to $10 more for this particular design. Again, you can cut that yourself by designing in cadworkslive.com, or you can have Stahls cut it for you. So I'm going to head back to the table, and we're going to answer any questions that you guys have left over as we begin to wrap up our time together on Niche Market. So I think we had a question come in. Let me read it here. How hard is it to heat press a backpack, or do you need a certain kind? Great question. from Kimberly. So it's actually not difficult at all to heat press a backpack if you have the right platens, if you have the right tool set to go along with your heat press. When you have threadability underneath the fusion press, you can actually thread your backpack on. That particular one that we did, you could use a 6x10 platen on the bottom, or we have a 7-inch round platen, and you can thread the pocket of the backpack that you want to apply right over that platen and decorate it just like you would a shirt. The thing that you want to watch out for, you get that optional platen to where all the zippers, all the seams are falling off over and not making direct contact with the press. If it's unavoidable to make contact with a plastic zipper, try using a flexible application pad from Stahls to deflect some of that heat. So those are some pointers on decorating backpacks. All right, any more questions before we wrap up our time together here? We have just a couple minutes left. All right, seems quiet. Hopefully we've answered all your questions. So we want to create our niches rather than find them. We walk through the steps to creating our niche, and basically it's making sure that our interests and our needs align with our customer needs, and we're trying to market to the folks who we can speak to, who are us. That will create the most profitable niche if we can really understand who our customer is. If you have more questions about niche markets or about how to decorate any of the items that you saw here today, we invite you to visit the forum at stahlstv.com to ask those questions, and you'll get an answer within a couple hours of it being posted on there. So thank you for joining me today, and we encourage you to visit stahlstv.com and register for even more live classes.